So in this video we're going through the full history of Attack on Titan from the very beginning. The story is super detailed and brilliant, but if you've only watched it once or even twice, it's easy to get lost in all the timelines, reveals and shifting perspectives. So this is just a laid back, clear breakdown to help everything click. But before we begin, a quick warning. So everything started with Ymir, the first Ymir Fritz, also known as the origin of all Titans. Then there was the second Ymir, the one who joined the scout regiment. At one point, people mistook her for the original Ymir, and she ended up being worshipped because of that. That just goes to show how important the first Ymir must have been, seen almost like a god, someone worthy of worship. But let's rewind for a second. Before Ymir became anyone significant, she was just a slave under the Eldian Empire. At that time, there were two dominant powers in the world, the Eldian Empire and the Marleyan Empire. There are a couple of events in the story where people say everything happened because of this. One such event was when Ymir saw a group of enslaved pigs and chose to set them free. No one knows what was going through her mind at that moment. Maybe it was an act of rebellion against the world that chooses to enslave living beings. Maybe it was a childish hope, a belief that the world was good. Either way, she was blamed and hunted down as punishment. While running away in the woods, she stumbled into a tree and came across the source of all living matter. It fused with her and transformed her into the very first Titan. Now you would think that Ymir, after gaining such tremendous power, would take revenge on those who abused her and made her life miserable. But by then she had already accepted her fate as a slave to the king of Eldia. In fact, after gaining the power of the Titans, she didn't break free. She became even more of a slave to the Eldian Empire, using her strength to crush its enemies, build roads, and expand its reach. The Eldian king took her as just another concubine, forcing her to bear children who would one day inherit the Titan power, so that the Titan power remained in Eldia's hands. Later, she gave birth to three daughters, Maria, Rose, and Sina, names that would later be given to the three great walls protecting humanity. Around this time, Ymir died while protecting the king because deep down she never really grew up. She was still that enslaved child inside. A lot of people struggle to grasp this concept, but we see this kind of behavior everywhere in nature. That's why inside the paths, the place where her consciousness was transferred, we see her building the skeletons for the Titans for 2000 years as a child. When Ymir died, the world had no understanding of science or technology, no tools, no rituals, no knowledge of how her power worked. All they knew was that Ymir's strength came from her body. So in a brutal and desperate move to preserve that power, the king of Eldia ordered her daughters, Maria, Rose, and Sina, to devour their own mother, flesh, spine, everything. Later on, Maria, Rose, and Sina also died and were absorbed by 9 Eldians, who later became known as the original 9 Titan Shifters. Each inherited one of the powers of the founding Titan, the Titan of Ymir. These 9 Titans went on to ravage continents, using pure Titans as their army. The founding Titans stayed within the Fritz family, and it was decided the Ackerman family would protect the royal line. This happened for around 1900 years until Karl Fritz, the 145th king of Eldia, became disillusioned with the empire's long history of conquest and cruelty. He believed the sins of Eldia were unforgivable and decided the empire needed to fall to end the cycle of violence. To make that happen, he secretly conspired with the Tiber family. Together, they created a fake hero named Helos, a Marleyan symbol of hope who was credited with defeating Eldia. This narrative will eventually lead to Eldia's downfall. But not all Eldians followed Karl Fritz. In fact, all the Titan shifters stayed behind. However, infighting between them gave Marley the perfect opportunity to take control of the 9 Titan powers. Karl Fritz then moved his people to Paradise Island, using the power of the founding Titan, which allowed him to manipulate the memories of Eldians. He erased the memories of the people on the island, making them forget their past lives and their connection to the rest of the world. He also created 3 walls: Maria, Rose, and Sina, using the powers of the Titans to protect the island from external threats. Meanwhile, the Eldians who didn't escape overseas became second-class citizens in Marley. They were forced to live in internment zones, separate from the rest of society and marked with colored armbands. After gaining control over the mainland, the Marley government promotes the story that Ymir Fritz had gained the Titans' power through a deal with the devil of all Earth, who was slain by their hero Helios during the war. This was in fact intended for the Eldians so that they believe they are sinners and everything that happened to them is because of their past deal with the devil. Most of the people inside of the walls forgot their history because of the powers of the founding Titan, but the Ackerman family did not, and so they were prosecuted and killed, most of them. The king then assumes the name of the Reese family and go into hiding to protect the founding Titan, and the Fritz family name is given to another family, the 145th king of Eldia, who would later be known as the first Reese king, created an underground cavern on Paradise Island where the power of the founding Titan could be secretly passed down through the royal bloodline. On the island, the deeper you go within the 3 walls, the more powerful and wealthy the families become. A clear class divide. Just as Marley crafted a false history to control its people, the Eldian king did the same. According to the fabricated history taught on Paradise Island, the entire human race outside the wall had been devoured by Titans, and the last remnant of humanity now lived within the walls. This lie kept the people of Paradise Island obedient, afraid, and blind to the outside world, exactly as King Fritz intended. Multiple years after, a miner attempts to dig a tunnel under Wall Sina to sneak into the wealthy interior, likely for smuggling or illegal entry. However, after digging deep, he finds that the walls don't just go straight down. They curve outward, underground, forming a massive underground structure. Why would this happen if the walls are walls? It doesn't make sense. The miner discusses this with a friend, and he together with a friend disappear forever. Meanwhile, on Paradise Island, Rod and Uri Reese's father inherit the founding Titan. Now we reach the point many fans say is the true beginning of Attack on Titan, a moment where the entire story could have taken a different turn. That moment is when Grisha takes his sister Faye beyond the walls of the internment zone to see a passing airship. They break the rules and the consequences are brutal. Grisha is detained, Faye is caught by Marleyan authorities and by dogs. When Grisha tells his father what happened, he is met not with anger or justice, but fear. His father urges him to stay silent, to submit. It's here that Grisha first understands the meaning of occupation, oppression, and inherited trauma. Years later, Grisha becomes a doctor, but beneath the surface, he joins the Restorationists, a secret group fighting to restore Eldia to its former glory. There he meets Dinah Fritz, the last known descendant of the royal Fritz bloodline, still living in Marley. They marry and have a child, Zeke. From the moment he's born, Grisha and Dinah raise Zeke with a single goal: to infiltrate Marley's warrior program, inherit a Titan, and serve as a spy for the Restorationists' cause. They burn this mission into his mind, not realizing the damage they are causing. Rodriguez marries a woman inside the walls, and together they have 5 children. However, his brother is chosen to inherit the founding Titan. Meanwhile, Tom Savar, the current inheritor of the Beast Titan, befriends Zeke Yeager, He urges Zeke to reveal the location of the Restorationists, promising that doing so will make him the favored candidate to inherit the Beast Titan. Zeke accepts. As a result, the Restorationists are captured and injected with Titan serum, turning them into mindless Titans, all except Grisha. The Owl selects him to inherit the Attack Titan, all for the sake of saving Armin and Mikasa, people whom he doesn't know but has a desire to save. Grisha flees to Paradise Island carrying the Attack Titan and seeks out the Founding Titan. There he is found by Keith Shadis and brought to live in the Shiganshina district located in the outermost wall. He becomes a doctor, marries Carla, and they have a son, Eren Yeager. Back on Marley, Zeke inherits the Beast Titan and adapts Tom Savar's ideology, euthanizing Eldians to end their suffering once and for all. Rodriguez has an affair with Alma, resulting in the birth of Historia Reese. Meanwhile, Frida Reese inherits the Founding Titan from her uncle. Historia's early life is filled with neglect and abuse from her mother until an assassin attempts to kill her. To survive, Historia goes into hiding and adopts the name Krista. Back on Marley, the new batch of warriors inherit their new titans. The Armor Titan is inherited by Reiner. The Jaw Titan is inherited by Marcel. The Female Titan is inherited by Annie. The Colossus Titan is inherited by Bertolt. Around this time, Mikasa Ackerman is adapted into the Jaeger family after Eren kills the traffickers who murdered her parents and tried to abduct her. Marley, and after 100 years, prepares a mission to retrieve the Founding Titan. They sent 4 warrior candidates, Bertolt Hoover, Reiner, Annie, and Marcel, to infiltrate Paradise Island. Children are chosen because they haven't had enough time to process whether it's right or wrong, yet they have the power. But things don't go as planned. During their journey, the group is attacked by a pure Titan, and Marcel sacrifices himself to save Reiner. That Titan turns out to be Ymir, who had been wandering in her mindless form for nearly 60 years, a punishment for being falsely worshipped as a goddess in her previous life. After devouring Marcel, Ymir regains her humanity and eventually joins life inside the walls under a new identity. Back in Shiganshina, Grisha Yeager makes his move using the power of the Attack Titan. He confronts and kills Frida Reese, the holder of the Founding Titan, and takes its power for himself. Before disappearing, he tells his son Eren that he'll show him what's in the basement, a secret that holds the truth of their world. Shortly after, the Colossus Titan, controlled by Bertolt, breaches the outer gate of Shiganshina, ending a century of peace. Titans pour into the district. Carla Yeager, Eren's mother, is devoured by the Smiling Titan, while Reiner, as the Armor Titan, smashes through the inner gate, forcing a mass evacuation of all roads.